let's go over the Sargent & Queso. I've taken quite a long time to get back together. And I can get this pinning tray first, just in case, because there are pins still in the older one. But this is the Sargent & Queso. It's a black belt lock. It has 12 pins, 4 on the top and 4 on each side. And I think the key looks awesome. The lock, when it was new, it had obviously like the Sargent's bars on it. And then there's this little symbol here, which I can't remember what it was, but that lined up with the top. That's how you knew you had your key back in the right position. But this is when I finally got back together. I'm going to have to take it apart again today, because you'll see here. See how rough that is getting in and out? It is leaving a nice scrape mark right along here. It's this second pin is dragging across there and scraping it. So that means all the work I did cutting new springs for it, I cut those ones just a little too much, or too little. So I'm going to have to attempt a 1/4 of a gut, which can be just as bad as the whole gut. Because as you'll see, it turns into a big mess. So this is it without its retaining screw and everything. And what you get is your of course my brain went dead. We all know what that is, the core. This is my original one that I've told the story a million times. We all know it. Took it apart. But that is that one. Okay. Now what it's supposed to do is, let's find the top. Where's the top? Top is right here. You see the pins in there? I thought I took them out. Okay, you have this big hole here, goes on this springed T-pin that screws up into the spring. And if somebody can explain to me why they do this in the comments, I'd appreciate it. But you gotta slide this over all these pins, and a lot of them line up, like this last T-pin right there, the right and the left line up. Then you got a missing one, but the top and the right line or left line up. And you gotta hold the springs in, slide this collar over the springs without smashing them with the collar or them flying out, which this room has, I think, 11 springs somewhere. I did find one, so 10. And then put your key pin in, which is a T-pin. There's a little cap. If there's any left in here, I thought I took them out, but maybe I didn't. And then you put your spring in, and then you got to slide this over and hold it in there, which is a nightmare because you got the top and the two sides, and they all got to be held in. So I would hold the sides like that and pray they'd hold, and I'd push that in and scoot it halfway and hope they didn't pop. But most of the time they did. But anyway, the goal was to get it all the way to there. And then this sleeve has a hole right where that zero lift T-pin, spring T-pin thing. I should have looked it up. But you guys know what I'm talking about if you know anything about them. It's a T-pin that has a spring on the end of it, and it goes down and it just sits on there. And it's a you just have to touch it, nick it, and that's enough for it to hit the shear line. And then you got this hole you got to deal with while you're sliding it over and not getting it caught on one of those holes. This is that goes all the way through to hold this thing together. I've never seen what actually goes there, but I usually take a piece of cardboard and rip it apart and smash it down in there. It usually holds it really well for a long time. I'm going to get a tap set and tap this and put a, I don't know why you guys call it a grub screw. It's a set screw. So yeah. So let's see, is there any pins in this? Doesn't seem to be. Let's take a quick look. So there's a good possibility that I did miss some. This is an old one. I think I had every pin but like one, but all the springs were gone, and I could not get it back together. I finally got it back together today. I left it at back in November, I left it at my local locksmith's. He seemed interested, and I'm like, yeah, I'll look at it. I think he looked at it and mixed up these cores because I had a hell of a time getting it together all day, and this core and that core do not have the same drill holes, and I did not have it like that when I left it there, so who knows. But you take this little half wedge out, and your core comes out. And I promise I'll get better lighting soon, but these are milled so the T-pins sit on that little ledge in there. And then it goes back in here with your half moon thing. I'll show you guys one of the pins in a second. I put this back on there right. Because if you don't, it doesn't fit in the lock body. Or that little sleeve. Why is that like that? put your T-pins and screws and everything, and then line these two holes up, that you will bump into the actual pins and the spring will come flying out. I promise you will. Well, let's see if we can find what I did with the pins. I had them. Oh, I think they're right here. I think I just put them in another container. Yeah, I think they're in here. Yep, these are it. So, I wish I had one of the T-pin driver pin thing left, but they all had to go back into that one. And where did I put that? I've been moving my little lab around a little bit, trying to get a little more room and a little more, get me a little closer to the ground with this chair to pick from, so I'm not picking with my arms above my head. Okay, this is a key pin. If you can tell, it's the T-pin that sits on that little ledge like I told you. And hopefully I can pick up one of these caps and hold it in a way that you can see it real well. Let's see if maybe I should have grabbed a flashlight. Yeah, you can see there, shaped like a cup, or like when you're little, if you're about my age, a cap for a cap gun, or a cap for a muzzle loader. And then the capped off side sits at the top of the T, and then the spring goes down in there, and that makes for one hell of a party. So yeah, I got that all back together, and now I gotta take it back apart and hopefully not destroy all the work that I did do, and put that one spring back in that I found, and hopefully that fixes the problem, and then it's time to practice, because I'm going for my black belt. Alright guys, peace. I will see you later.